Alrighty, it's your boy Zxous, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. Today we're doing the showcase on the queen herself, the boss killer, LAPLACE. I think people call her LAPLACE, but her name is pronounced LAPLACE. But for the sake of the video, for people to understand what I'm saying, I'm just gonna say LAPLACE. I'm probably still gonna say LAPLACE, but we'll see. So one thing I like about these characters, her and Drake, and I think even Snow White, not really Snow White, I think it's only her and Drake, but when you click on them, they have not a transformation, but like two forms essentially, right? And it just stays like this forever. So I could have her in this like mech type suit, or I could have her just in a regular thing. That's a pretty cool effect that her and Drake have, I will say. But let's talk about this unit, right? Because again, she is a boss killer. That's her job. She's a boss killer essentially. So my LAPLACE is 2 stars, 454. Rank 20 on the attraction. Like, I literally use this girl when I'm fighting bosses. So let's talk about it. So she's a rocket launcher user and all that stuff. She's actually pretty good when it comes to bosses though, right? So her first skill activates when attacking with full charge, affects self. Hero vision explosion range increases by 2.6% and stacks up to 5 times. That lasts for 5 seconds. So I want to say whip, like reload, like this is gonna be consistent. Kind of, if you're probably gonna barely make it, right? I think you probably, just to be safe, you should probably have a character on your team that increases allies reload speed, or no, actually the cube will be more than enough for that to happen actually. But yeah, because she has 6 bullets as a rocket launcher, after you do use 5 bullets, it should be there forever, I believe. It should stay consistent, especially if it lasts 5 seconds and it will take only 5 shots, and then you have 6 which will reload it. And then while the reload speed is happening, or while you're putting back the bullets, it will go down. Yeah, you should probably have like basically a second or two, and it will stay consistent, basically. So it's a nice skill, right? It's good for AoEs, good for like mob stages, and stuff like that, right? Her second skill activates when the last bullet hits the target. Affects the target, deals 63.1% of attack as additional damage. So whoever the last bullet hit is doing an additional 63.1% of attack at level 5. That's pretty good. And then the second part of that second skill activates when hitting the target's parts. So I believe this is for bosses, right? This is for bosses. So characters who, obviously bosses that just have those additional parts, right? That's what that's going to be for, right? She deals an additional 11.42% of attack as additional damage, right? So the 63% is only going to happen for the last bullet, and the extra 11% is always going to happen if you're attacking the target's parts, right? So now this is where she becomes like very, very good against bosses. Her second skill. So she changes her weapon into a machine gun essentially. It's like a blast ray, but I believe the weapon it changes into is a machine gun. It deals 652.8% of attack at level 4. Does damage over time, 10.56% of attack that lasts for 5 seconds. And then she also gets the pierce effect. Now, the reason why the pierce effect is so good with this skill and for bosses is, like, for example, a boss like Chatterbox, right, who has the core and the 2 missiles. Her ultimate is just going to be going through all of that and is basically going to be attacking all 3 parts at once, right? Which is going to be good for something like Chatterbox. I actually learned that recently from a subscriber. Well, in terms of like using her for Chatterbox, right? But everything else, that Pierce, I already knew that how that worked. And then also her second part of the skill, again, her second skill, she does additional damage for attacking parts, right? The target's parts. So that's why she's going to be very good there, right? She's not able to take cover when using a burst skill, so keep that in mind. And then also she deals 8.65% of attack as true damage when fully stacked on hero vision. That's why I'm saying if you have her in the second slot, she's always most likely always going to have that fully stacked up, and it's going to stay consistent. So what true damage is basically ignores defense, right? It just removes defense from thing, right? For the cube, I'm actually going to give her I believe it's the Bastion cube or whatever, right? Which cube is it? I still, no, that's not it. I think it's then it has to be a June tint, whatever. It has to be this one, right? No. Charge speed? That could work too. That could work too. What cube is that? It's resilience. I'm tripping. I'm big tripping. It's resilience. This is reload. Yeah, I'm tripping. So yeah, we're gonna go do Chatterbox actually, because I can. Like, I can actually do Chatterbox in campaign. It's on my hard, so I'll be back. So this is the team we're gonna bring. We're gonna bring Senti because Chatterbox obviously goes after our shield. Rapunzel's there just to. We don't even need Rapunzel. We could put her on. And then yeah, we can go in like this. We're not gonna beat this boss. I mean, I don't think we are. But yeah. Also, let me know. I'm gonna ask in the comments too as like a pin comment. But let me know if you guys like how I take. I don't want to say take long, but like 5 minutes in to get to the showcase, for example. But it's like I'm explaining how everything works, right? Like explaining stuff, breaking down everything, right? So here you want a space, boom. So that's what's it called? So you guys are gonna see, right? When LAPLACE uses her ultimate, we don't have her ultimate here. Or LAPLACE, I said LAPLACE again. Right? So we're gonna wanna break this, okay. So when LAPLACE has their ultimate here, as you guys see, so yeah, I see it works. So we're gonna be consistent, right? We're already at 5 hero stacks. Didn't take long at all. Did not take long at all. Like, that was pretty quick to get it, so it's gonna be pretty good there. Right, so now she has true damage, and when she does use her burst skill, which is going to be here, she can't cover. But as you see, she's nuking through all 3. So she's attacking the core, the missile launcher 1, and the missile launcher 2 with her burst. Right? The only problem is that it does last 5 seconds. I didn't mention that earlier. But her burst skill does last 5 seconds, which is kind of a yikes, especially when you're playing on auto, right? Because, for example, when we're playing on auto, right? When we used her burst there, he was in the air for like at least a second or 2. So we definitely do not want what's it called? Like, I want to say when using her, you probably like here, for example, is good. He's just standing there and like he's just taking damage. As you see, his HP is going down too when you use LAPLACE's LAPLACE. It's pronounced LAPLACE, but like when you use her ultimate, you see how it's just going down. But when, for example, let's say she uses her burst and he's up in the air, you're wasting time, especially since you only have a 5-second cool or a 5-second limit time or timer, I should say, for that boss, right? In terms of damage, she's obviously doing more than Modernia because again, when fully stacked, she's ignoring defense. And then also because she's attacking parts, she's doing additional damage. And then again, when she uses the last bullet, it does additional damage, right? So against a boss, it's not really a surprise for me to see her do more than Modernia. Right, especially when she's doing something like this, just nuking them down, right? It's not really anything crazy for me to that. But I do like it, because again, without her, I want to say, like, you're probably only going after 1 missile launcher, 1 core, like one of the 3, right? But the thing about her is because she goes for all of them, it's essentially all going down at once, right? So when we get her ultimate again, we're not going to beat it, but when we get our ultimate again, you guys are going to see. So here is going to be a bad time to get our ultimate because he's going to be back there. So see, we've lost some seconds there. As you see, we've wasted it, essentially. Right? So that's the only thing about her. You cannot play her on auto. I mean, we could actually beat it probably. Right? You just cannot play her on... I don't want to say you can't play her on auto, but when it comes to using her ultimate, you probably are better off using it on manual. And controlling it because it makes no sense. Well, that was just a one-tap thing. Like, we couldn't do anything there. Unless, like, yeah, I mean, we just couldn't do anything there, right? But yeah, that's gonna be that. And she still did more than Modernia in general, which is obviously, again, expected, right? Because, again, it's a solo boss, right? I think Chatterbox is where she shines the most. Right, I think this is where she's gonna shine the most in terms of like a boss, right? But again, other bosses too. It's not only Chatterbox, right? She's a good character. She's a good character, right? As a DPS, she's very good. She's like, if you do, I want to say she's a top 5 DPS in the game. I'm not sure. I think I would say she's top 10. Guaranteed, but like, let me see. Would I say she's top 5? Because I'm gonna go off DPS here. Like, I would say guaranteed Drake, I would say, is higher than her. I'd say Scarlet, I'd say Modernia, and I'd say Haran are higher than her. But would she be at 5? Because that's my top 4 right there. Scarlet, Modernia, Haran, and then Drake. That's my top 4 right there. Would I put LAPLACE at 5? Because you also have characters like Snow White and Power now. Their ultimate is essentially the same thing. But I feel like LAPLACE has more, like, as a general DPS, she has more value. Or adds more value as a general DPS than those two. So maybe she would be right there, number 5, if not 6. But let's take a look at her skills. Let's take a look at her skills maxed out and see what they're looking like here. So the percentages, again, are pretty good. 81.66% when the last bullet hits a target. Remember, she's a rocket launcher. So when she's doing AoE damage, that's going to also be for every enemy that hits. That's going to be good, right? The percentage on her max damage at level 10 is basically 900%. Very, very good. Deals an additional, I guess, not additional, but 11.9% of attack as true damage. Very, very good character, right? A very, very, very good character. The only problems I would say with her is, again, her burst skill is only 5 seconds, right? And if an enemy is not there, like for those enemies that jump in the sky, it's not going to capture it. So for the 5 seconds, you kind of have to be very, very smart with the 5 seconds. You have to be very, very smart with the 5 seconds. I feel like it's more like just manual play, right? You have to have it manual, right? But I think her skill 2 is great. Obviously, her hero vision doesn't take long to stack up at all, because it only takes like, what, 1 second to charge? Yeah, 1 second to charge, right? So it's not going to take that long. If anything, it's just going to take 5 seconds to get it, essentially. That's not that bad. So yeah, I do think she's a good character. Probably top 5 DPS. Let me know where you guys would place her. I might have her right there at 5 for DPS. Probably right there at 5. I feel like as a general DPS, she has more value than someone like Snow White and Power, who kind of do the same thing as her when it comes to the ultimate. Even Maxwell, right? But for now, I'm going to put her at maybe 5, maybe 6. I'm not sure. I'll probably do a video like top 5 DPS right now or whatever. But for now, that's going to be it for LAPLACE. Let me know if you guys like her. And again, I think this is so cool. The fact that you could keep it like that is so cool, right? She basically has a costume on, right? But that's going to be it. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Later. Peace.